Welcome to Fox Netball. We are here on Wurundjeri country at John Cain Arena. The Collingwood Magpies and the Queensland Firebirds, both teams who are wanting to get their season on track. Very different starts to the season for both teams, but I wonder who will take out the Easter Sunday clash between these two sides. Caitlin Thwaites is joining me in commentary, as is Kira Tromp. Let's get to our Woolworths team cards, Katie. We're going to look at the Firebirds first. They're on your screen. Beck Bully, her first year as coach. Their team, they're starting as we expected.
Yeah, as we expected here with Wallum and Stour, their experienced mid-court with Dunkley, Revellion and Simpson. I'm really keen to see them stand up this week. They're obviously the most experienced for this team and the, I guess, more inexperienced at the back there with Bakewell Doran and Remy Carmo. A couple of impact players there. We might see them take the court with Macy Gardner, Emily Moore, Ash Uni.
If you're Beck Bully, are you going out there with a game plan of keeping your 7 on and trying to play out the game, or are you wanting to bring on certain plays to make that impact, whether it's in the Power 5 or any time else?
I actually think that both of these coaches are in a fairly similar, I guess, place with their teams, in that probably having that steady ship, having their starting 7 play out the game is going to be beneficial for these guys to try to work through some of the on-court, ebbs and flows that they have out there.
As we can see, the Collingwood Magpies, the home team coming out onto court, Shimona Nelson and Sophie Garvin down the shooting end. Brown, Jovic, Brazel, and then rounding out the defensive end that have been so impressive in Jodie-Ann Ward and the very experienced Jiva Mentor. As the ball is coming out, and caught out umpires today are Kate Wright and Tim Marshall, and Justin Barnes is the reserve. Katie, it all happens right now. Molly Jovic to get us started. Magpies with ball in hand. You can see the players, they're jostling around, they're ready to go. And here we go. Early call from the umpire. Ward to Jovic. Nelson, arm up high, she wants it early.
Sophie Garvin on the board with goal assists already. She plays that third feeder role very well. We'll be hoping to have a bit more impact on the scoreboard with her accuracy compared to last week.
And you would say the same about Mia Stour with the ball in hand. Ward up for an early deflection. Both goal attacks on court, possibly with the same game plan. Brown, Jovic looks up and over, gets it to Nelson early.
Such a strong target down there, as we see the Harvey Norman replay here, just stepping out of court under pressure.
Garvin swings it across, wayward pass. It is an offside call though, with Molly Jovic stepping into the circle. Remy Carmo, goalkeeper for the Firebirds. Dunkley to Stour, over the top to Wallum. She steps in confidently.
Not backing down from that battle as yet. With Jiva Mentor, who's threatening to have a hunt early.
Stour. Rebounded by Wallum. 2 from 2 for Danelle Wallum. Scores are even in this very early part of the first quarter. You see a little quick shot from Jovi to Simpson.
A friendly
little nudge, let's call it. Revellion. Simpson looks for Revellion again. These two players have played so much netball together for the Queensland Firebirds. And Kim Revellion, also a former Collingwood Magpie.
I was looking at that little exchange between Ash Brazel and Kim Revellion. They have had many years of training and playing against each other, both from the New South Wales pathway, but then having spent time together at the Collingwood Magpies.
Magpies take their lead out by 1. Quick turn from Dunkley. Up over the top. Strong performance from Wallam so far against Mentor.
Yeah, she's holding nice and strong and providing that really good target for her teammates. The first and second phase is what is getting sorted out, and that's where the pressure is coming at the moment. So we see an offensive contact. Oh no, sorry. Must have been an offside.
Stour to Dunkley. Dunkley just turns quickly. What's the advantage for a shooter when you have someone like Lara Dunkley just looking quickly in rather than taking their time?
Well, it catches the defender slightly off guard if they're turning and looking, as we watch the Harvey Norman replay there. Turning and looking really quickly, the defender might be caught on the wrong side of their body, which allows that feed to come in nice and quick. If they're a bit slower in turning and turning to sight it, so we see a bit of a chase and gather from Kelsey Brown.
Kira Tromp is part of our commentary team today. Kira, what are you noticing so far?
Thanks, B. Well, I've noticed for the Magpies that their defence on the outside of the circle, they're not using the arms to block the vision, so they're not getting their hands up, and therefore the feeds are coming in thick and fast from the Firebirds. They're getting their heads and shoulders around. I'd love to see the Magpies mix up their hands over pressure to try and block the view, as we see Mia Stow there with an acre of space to look in and find her shooter.
Mentor in great positioning, but Wallam, 2 hands on the ball.
Taking the ball under extreme pressure with the 2 defenders there. Sophie Garvin.
Great placement for Kelsey Brown to land where she did. Dunkley, she did look in, she needs to go back. Simpson has the reset on the transverse line. And it's in. Dunkley can see. You can see Wallam's hand up, but Ward, just as much as the Firebirds can see it, so can the Magpies defenders.
And the quick transition down court, straight to circle edge, finding Nelson on the stronghold.
Let's watch the Harvey Norman replay.
This is a little bit of what we spoke about in the pre-game, Bianca, about having the 2-on-1 pressure on the person that's providing that volume, and you really want your goal attack to be injecting themselves into the play to provide a threat and draw one of those defenders off. Otherwise, Wallam is going to be heavily defended by 2 players all game today.
We'll keep an eye on that matchup between Stour and Ward. How much Ward that you can see, she's just left her there on your screen. She's looking up for the option. Jeeva with a jump, but Wallam doesn't seem phased. 8 from 8 for Danelle Wallam. Up, over we go again. That's what everyone coach dreams of, doesn't it? Just 1 pass straight in.
First phase to goal.
Don't worry about
Cut out
second.
the second phase.
Brown, what can the Magpies do in attack? They're down by 2. And you know what? That's exactly what they can do. Nelson out of court in the end. She seemed to have all the space.
Just a little off balance.
Dunkley, back to Bakewell-Doran, back to Dunkley. Stour out of the circle. You can see the 2-on-1 in the circle. The movement from the Magpies defenders. They swap. But a confident shot from Mia Stour.
Great to see her getting into that circle. If she's hanging out wide, the Magpies defenders know that she's not a threat out there. Great vision on the feed there from Lara Dunkley.
Oh. And what a good shot from Mia Stour. Kira Tromp, what's happening over on the Firebirds bench? Everyone's standing up.
The Firebirds coaching bench are out of their seats, are excited, and that should be, you know, for the Firebirds, they've had a tough start to the season, but they've started really strongly here this afternoon. And one part of the game, as we see Shimona Nelson take a great ball, has been their gain to goal conversion. So they're sitting at 100% at the moment. They're able to turn the ball over. And in the words of assistant coach Lauren Brown, rewarding their defenders by getting it to a goal.
We will keep an eye on that stat. I think that's been fascinating across all games in Super Netball, but especially for the Firebirds. Stour. She wants it back quickly. 7 minutes to play in the first. Such a confident shot from Mia Stour. The Magpies, they're in possession. Brown, back to Brazel. The hands-over pressure from the Firebirds is slowing the Magpies down. Great deflection from Carmo. Simpson.
Contact, wing defence.
Dunkley just colliding with Ash Brazel.
And this is what Kira was talking about just before, rewarding those defenders for the efforts down there, making sure.
Obstruction, contact.
We've just seen, and watch the Harvey Norman replay here as Dunkley falls into Brazel. But Sophie Garvin for the Magpies has called a HCF tactical timeout. We're going to listen in to the Magpies huddle, see what Coach Nicole Richardson has to say.
Scored 1 out of the last 7 centre passes. At the moment, they're looking at doubling on second phase, and we're forcing that ball through, okay? So maybe if you've got the double on you, take them deeper. Someone else has to be accountable, whether that's you going hard, Molly, to draw keeper out, and then you can go, and then we can go in, right? Or Jodes and Brazzy. It's got to come back to you guys. Don't force the 2v1 on second phase. So just be careful on second phase. You're dodging back into the middle, which is then going back into their forward, right? Make defenders redundant. Take them there to then come out, yeah? Change the direction on Gabby. She's going so hard first ball. Let's go, guys.
Then we're fast.
Great head to Good job, you three. We got a feel for it. Now we need to push on it. Tighten it up out there. Let's go. Pace on hard. Pace. Good job, you three.
You heard Jiva Mentor, the captain of the Magpies, co-captain with Ash Brazel. Got a feel for it now. Now we need to kick on. Did you notice anything out of the Magpies huddle?
Well, I was really interested in the way that Nicole Richardson, she's speaking about that centre pass conversion. Obviously, so we see an attacking contact there. But the conversion rate for the Magpies centre passes, I get the feeling that Nicole Richardson is constantly looking at these statistics that are trying to give her the story of what's unfolding in the game. Obviously, having those numbers right in front of you, it's really helpful to pick up on those areas. We can see that she does have an iPad that sits in front of her, giving her these statistics that helps her to tweak these things out on the court for the players.
She records her own stats as well. Let's go across to Kira. What was happening in the Firebirds camp?
A really positive B from the Firebirds coaching staff. Really happy with the start that their teams had. I will say that the Firebirds don't generally come out of times very well. So to have gone to a goal after giving it up is a good sign for them. Really happy Rebecca Bully was with the hands over pressure, as we see again another strong hands over from the Firebirds, and Lauren Brown with the ball speed. Wonderful pick up and rebound there from Ruby Bakewell-Doran. So the Firebirds are firing at this moment.
You're starting to see what Carmo and Bakewell-Doran can do when the pressure is on out in front of them.
And that's what you want, isn't it? You want that accumulative pressure for your defenders. They are the ones that reap the benefits of it at the back. But it needs to be applied earlier up the court from the attack end.
And it was exactly what we saw with the Melbourne Vixens last night, that accumulative pressure in that last quarter. The Vixens started to get ball. Dunkley sets herself on the edge of the circle. We're in the power 5. Won't land for Mia. Wallum tries another one, flick behind her.
A two-handed flick behind her head that time.
I can't wait to see what she's going to produce in today's game, if it's anything like what we saw last week. Garvin, hotly contested. Simpson and Brown. We knew these two players would go at it. We knew it was going to be a physical encounter.
That pocket ball is something that Gabby Simpson has practiced to within an inch of her life. The high ball that's lifted, getting up to contest it.
Garvin nails the first Suncorp super shot of the game. Rebellion She's in everything. Every second pass is going to the Firebirds centre. Let's take a look at the missing net points as we spoke about. Kim Rebellion, 22, sitting right next to Jodie-Ann Ward. Wallum, Dunkley and Brown rounding out the top 5. Mia Stour, not confident for 2, but Wallum wants it. Now to Stour, who's going to take it for the Firebirds? An attempt from Stour, she misses. Oh, that is a hot shot for Mia Stour, but it was almost held on too long.
Almost held ball. We hear the Magpies fans not happy about it here, but a huge lifting play. We saw Kim Rebellion with her arms, her fist pumping. That was a huge moment for the Firebirds to convert that.
The Firebirds, they're out by 6. You can see Beck Bully, the coach of the Firebirds, on screen. A passionate coach. Back to within 5, the Magpies. But the Firebirds seem very much in control of the first. Rebellion looks for Dunkley, back to Bakewell-Doran. Patient play from the Firebirds. They do have options, but just held on to it too long.
And the Magpies doing a great job of shutting down all of those options, being in front of their players, and especially when they're looking at the contested play. So when they're looking, the passer is looking, having it covered. You can afford to drift off a little bit if they're not looking.
Carmo to Simpson, across to Rebellion. You can see the Magpies. They're sitting in the middle channel of the court. They're trying to force the Firebirds anywhere but in that middle. Stour finds Wallum, but it's a stepping call. The momentum was all the Firebirds, and it's quickly changing here at John Cain Arena. Brown struggles. Bakewell-Doran finds herself in the front position. Dunkley to Stour. Stour has to go up and over the top of Garvin.
We can see Danelle Wallum in the back just ordering around some of this play, using her hands, saying, go back, work it, just settle. We don't need to force anything.
Oh, very, very hesitant on the shot. Another held ball for the Firebirds. That's been 3 already down that end. The pressure from the Magpies is mounting. Just under a minute to play in the first. Jovic to Brown. To Garvin, what can she do? Just a simple up and over the top to Nelson for 1.
I wonder whether we're going to see an injection or a change at quarter time. Obviously a little bit hesitant on that shot down the Firebirds' end. I actually think that she was doing a really great job of, like I said, warranting some of the interest from the Magpies defenders and getting into that court, into the circle, demanding the ball.
Oh, great rebound from Stour.
Contact goalkeeper in the 1.
The Firebirds,
in the 1.
they get an opportunity.
She had possession.
Mentor stands out of play. On the buzzer, Mia Stour makes it count. Suncorp, super shot. That's number 2 for Mia Stour. That's our first quarter. The Firebirds leading the Magpies by 4. Stay with us. We'll be back after the break.
Pointing who they should be passing to. If someone's pointing, that means you're not moving. Yeah. You need to be an option as well, okay? We've got 2 options, if not 3 options to every ball. No one pointing to where they should be passing. They're looking at you, give them an option, all right? Pressure is key. Everyone needs to be on their play out, contesting all the way down. When you are in front, you've got that ball.
Well, there's Coach Beck Bully. That's quarter time, brought to you by Origin Energy. She's very stern with her players. There's no pointing. You've got to be driving. You've got to be an option for the ball. Let's go across to Kira Tromp, who was listening into the Magpies huddle. What was Coach Richardson saying?
Yeah, look, Bianca, Katie, Nicole Richardson had a very stern word with her team about being accountable in defence. So they've gone back to a one-on-one. They want to make sure that each player on the court is looking after their player. So similarly to the Firebirds in terms of just pointing and making someone else do the work, she's asking for them defensively to step up and own their own player.
It's interesting to look at the stats with the intercepts and gains. The Firebirds, they are ahead at the moment with 2 and 4 respectively. The Magpies, they're struggling to get ball like we usually see them do.
Yeah, but the issue there is the Firebirds have only scored off 50% of their turnover balls. So they're getting their hands on it, but they need to be, as Lauren Brown apparently was saying, rewarding their defenders for that effort.
The Magpies will get us started in the second. It's a 5-goal lead to the Firebirds.
Contact.
Early penalty against Dow, but Ward gets us underway. Brown to Garvin.
Contact goalkeeper.
Contact call against Carmo.
Inside the goal shooter now. That's it.
You'd think an easy one for Nelson. Comes up short.
Commentator's curse.
Sorry, that was probably my fault, but I did think that. Garvin to Nelson.
Obstruction, distance, goalkeeper.
I'll be
out of
quiet
play.
this time. Stour, centre pass received. Over the trot to Bakewell Doran. Dunkley looks in straight away. Has to side it, Stour. Ward with the pressure over the shot. Wallam steps in. Thought she was going to finish it with the layup. Didn't need to in the end.
Great to be providing that extra triangle, that pass on the outside of the circle. Exactly what Garvin does down this end for the Magpies. Quite often just that extra point in the triangle opens up a different angle, finds the shooters.
Oh, yeah. Can we just
Sophie
grab
Garvin trying to
spare ball?
find the ball.
Thanks.
You don't often see this. I'm not sure where it's gone. But we've got a new ball in play. Another miss from Shimona Nelson. That's 3 misses so far. You don't see it from her. We haven't seen it a lot from her this season up close.
No, she was 100% last week, even though it was a lower volume from her.
Simpson flies down to get the centre pass. Stour. It's double defence from the Magpies, but the Firebirds find the way.
And that was a craftier entry from the Firebirds, using that ball speed, but also faking like they were going to swing the ball to the pocket. Actually just created a little bit more open space for Wallam.
Garvin chases it up, keeps it in. Brown backs her up. Defensive pressure from Simpson. She is wearing Molly Jovic and Kelsey Brown, whoever she is on in that end of the court. You can see the relief on Nelson's face that she landed that one. Rebellion to Simpson. Dunkley, oh, they hesitant. She can see Ward hovering.
And a little bit of a box there from the Magpies, making it look like that corner one was on, but Jiva Mentor knowing that that's the one that she could eat up.
5 goals the difference. Brown. Quick one, back to Brazil. It's a 1-on-1 in the circle. Carmo rolls off the back. That is a usual move you see from Jiva Mentor down the other end.
Maybe she's been watching a little bit of footage in the lead-up.
It's a smart play when a defender does go from behind. As we see Ash Brazil just go down in the background. We'll keep an eye on what happened. She's up. She does look uncomfortable, putting her hand on her jaw.
Centre.
Nelson. Have a look at the Harvey Norman replay here, and you just see, I don't know if it was a clash of heads or Brazel hit the shoulder of Lara Dunkley. The umpires are asking Ash Brazel if she's okay. She's being told to just come off the court and get checked, and Maddie Hinchliffe has taken the court in wing defence. Great to see the proactiveness of the umpires and the players and all the medical team to just get it checked out, see what's happening, and let them all assess. Garvin up over the top. Carmo gets the hand. And Stour on her own, up over the top to Wallum. That's what Coach Bully will want to see from her team.
And great to see. They managed to isolate Danelle Wallum at the back there, just in the one-on-one.
Oh, Super Wallum has come to play. She said we might not see some of that action, but we got another glimpse of it. Can't wait to see the replay on that one.
I told you, it's not an accident. It's very skilled.
And no pressure, Wallum. We expect them every single game.
Step back, up step. From behind.
Nelson puts it down for Garvin. Screens off Bakewell Doran in the meantime. Let's have a look at the Harvey Norman replay here. Up over the top. She's falling out of court. Probably had a little bit more time on her hands than she did last week. But we love to see it. Rebellion back to Dunkley. Huge amount of work Kim Rebellion does out there on the court.
She does. She's an absolute workhorse. Prides herself on her fitness and strength. Just resetting the play.
Oh, bit too much on it. Mentor picks up the scraps. 4 goals the difference. Hinchliffe. She made her debut for the Magpies last week in Western Australia against the Fever. Probably not the game you'd want to step out and make your debut for the Magpies. Hopefully this time is a better occasion.
Probably not a memorable one, but also it's probably a good one just to get some of those nerves out of the way, isn't it? So now, this week, hopefully less of those nerves and on with the game.
And of course, Hinchliffe, former Sunshine Coast Lightning player. Rebellion gets us underway again. The Magpies, they're really creeping in on the Firebirds lead. Now 2 the difference. And a huge block from Chiva Mentor. If only she didn't get pulled for it. Step forward from Stour. That's her 5th goal for the game. Look at this Harvey Norman replay. You see both Ward and Mentor just really hedging their bets, trying to confuse the space. Who was going to go up for it?
Contact centre. On the edge at the top. Yeah.
Brown.
Contact, grab, goalkeeper.
And it's a penalty shot for Nelson. Back within 2, Katie. You can sense a bit of a momentum shift here.
And a huge...
Oh, Jodie Ann Ward! I don't think I've seen a player jump higher.
That was a fly from well off and a set play from the Magpies. Jiva Mentor just attacking the second phase play, knowing that Jodie Ann Ward was covering the shooter at the post. Let's look at the Harvey Norman replay.
That was a huge positional change. Smart play, as you said. Mentor came out to cover the second phase. Ward straight back in. Here she goes again, covering the front of Wallum, knowing she can get up there if she can. Oh, she gets a deflection this time.
And the benefit of that 2B is that it's a running jump. Obviously from a stationary jump, your vertical leap is probably not going to be as high. Having that running jump at it, especially for a slightly shorter player, Jodie Ann Ward.
And Stour was saying, if you can leave me alone and double team Wallum, I'm actually going to put them up. And that's the confidence you want from a goal attack. Let's go across to Kira Tromp. The penalties are interesting.
Very interesting, B. We see the Firebirds penalty rate just climbing up as we see another intercept there from Bakewell Doran. Gabby Simpson and Kelsey Brown are having a physical contest, and at this stage, it's Gabby Simpson on 8 penalties, and her coach has asked her to adjust. As we see the ball spill out on the baseline, adjust her defensive setup. So they're just getting in a bit of a running race and a contact off the centre line. So maybe a wall or some other defensive centre court press off that centre pass. I will note that Ash Brazel is standing in the substitution box, so we're happy to see that she will come back onto the court at some stage.
She's been checked out by the medical team and given the okay to return to the court, and she's doing that just as we speak. Brazel back into wing defence. Keep up that pressure. Simpson trying to get the play underway quickly. Mentor from behind, works her way in front, pulls it in with 2 hands. That's the second intercept for Jiva Mentor. And I suspect we might see a few more. Brown looks up to Nelson. It's a contact call. The penalties, Kira spoke about them. They're creeping up for the Firebirds.
And Remy Carmo with great front positioning there. Just getting a tip in, a tip and a chase. That'll be a gain down on the stats sheet for her.
Brazel back out on court. 1 deflection. It's a dance that you play with the penalties, isn't it? The pressure it applies by playing that physical one-on-one game, but also the attention from the umpires if there is that body contact.
Absolutely, and I think what you're wanting is to find that line. So sometimes you might step a little too far over that line, exactly like what Kira was mentioning for Gabby Simpson. She's stepped a little too far over it at the moment. She needs to pull back a tiny bit. Still try and have as much impact and effect, but while staying in play.
Great body positioning from Shimona Nelson to hold off Carmo to allow the space for herself to get up and over, the ball up and over the top. Who's directing the play in that instance? Is it the mid-quarters or is it Shimona Nelson saying, just move it around and get me into this position?
I think the mid-quarters and the ball speed that really helps that. Obviously, we know that Shimona doesn't venture too far out of that circle. So we see the eye contact, great vision going straight down there. The mid-quarters there are really the generals that are opening up that space, and it's the shooter who's getting their timing off the mid-quarters.
The Power 5 is in play. 2 goals, the difference. The Firebirds leading the way here at John Cain Arena. Can they extend it to 3? They can. Wallen. 19 from 19. And if we take a look at our Nissan Net Points match leaders, Kim Rebellion having a great game so far.
And then a couple of defenders on there. We've spoken about the impact that both of the defence ends are having at the moment. Quite a few turnover balls.
Offside centre.
Bakewell Doran getting herself amongst it.
Decision making quite the key in this Power 5. Do you go for 2? Do you settle for 1? As the Firebirds cough up their centre pass. Ward just taking a breather, taking her time before the throw in to allow the Magpies to reset. There's Coach Richardson. Looking quite calm. Usually we see her in the coach's box, up and about. She's looking quite calm at the moment.
Why wouldn't you be when you're finding your shooter under the post by herself?
Carmo, she was in front position. That has to be hers. Remy Carmo, 2 deflections, 1 intercept, 1 rebound so far. Dunkley looks over to Wallem, it's there. Precision pass from Lara Dunkley. Let's look at the Harvey Norman replay. Can't do much better than that as a goalkeeper.
And the vision, I think this week we probably haven't had as much of that as Jiva comes through with another disruption and a tip for the Firebirds attack. Last week we saw the Firebirds throw quite a lot of balls really far off the circle edge into their shooters. Hasn't been as much of the case this week as Kim Ravelli just proves me wrong. Right there.
The Firebirds extend their lead now by 3. That happens quickly. Brazel trying to get underway. Carmo, a deflection, a block. She grabs it in. It might be a new name to Suncorp Super Netball, but she is an experienced player, 29 years old, and finally gets her opportunity. Rebellion across to Stour, up over the top of the 2 defenders in the black and white.
Let's have a look at that replay. That is so hard to do. Attacking the pass rather than the take of the ball.
And it's a smart call, because as a keeper, you either contest the ball against the shooter or you take on the mid-quarter just to see what you can do.
You see a little bit of a change up here for the Firebirds shooters with Janelle Wallam coming out of the circle, trying to set up that play.
Just over 25 seconds to play in the second, in this first half. The last 4 goals to the Firebirds. They extend their lead by 5. Garvin for 2. Can't sink it. The Magpies come up with the rebound.
Lara Dunkley
5 seconds.
potentially just eating valuable seconds up off the clock.
Garvin can't land the Suncorp super shot. So that means the Firebirds finish the first half with a 5-goal lead. It was an incredible performance and change for the Queensland Firebirds. The Magpies won't be happy with that. You just see Richardson on the screen just... We thought calm before, but potentially she's a little puzzled as to what she can do next. We're going to cross down to Kira Tromp, who has Kim Ravelli.
Thanks, B. I'm here with Kim Ravelli, captain of the Firebirds. You've got to be happy with a 5-goal lead leading into the halftime break. You held them off there with that little bit of change of momentum. Talk us through the tempo out on court for the first half.
Yeah, we're blowing a gate out there. You know, it's a game of momentum, and we just want to make sure in those momentum changes that we don't let it get out too wide. So when we're ahead, we just want to punish and keep pushing ahead. And so I think that's really what we're doing, is to sticking to the game plan. We just need to do that for the next 30 minutes.
A real difference tonight for the Firebirds has been rewarding your defenders on those gain balls and getting them down to the post. How important is that for your team?
Absolutely. I mean, it's so hard to get a ball in this league. So when we do, we want to punish the opposition. So we're doing that tonight. We just need to keep doing it.
All the best for the second half, Kim.
Thanks so much, Shara.
Back to you, B.
Well, you heard it there. They want to punish the Magpies. They want to make sure they punish them on the scoreboard and make the most of their gains. Danelle Wallam's fired up. It is 5 goals, the difference. The Firebirds leading the way here on the Magpies home court. Don't forget, coming up after today's game, we head to Netball SA Stadium, where it's the Adelaide Thunderbirds taking on the Giants. The Giants searching for their first win of the season. And the Thunderbirds, boy, are they in brilliant form. We have our halftime show coming up next. Hope you're all enjoying your Easter weekend. It is community round here. And this is our Woolworths Net Set Go kids from Waverley Netball Association out on court at halftime at John Cain Arena. Great opportunity. Look how excited they are to be out there. What a game we've had on our hands. The Easter Bunny's here, the chocolate's being given out, but there's plenty of action that's been happening on court. The Queensland Firebirds leading the charge by 5 goals. There they are in the change rooms, getting some rest. Let's have a look at the match stats. What's been standing out to you, Katie, when we look at the summary?
Well, for me, I've been keeping track of the centre pass conversion rate, but also the gains from goals. And interesting to me is that as we see there on your screen right there, it's actually an inverse of each other. So that's the gains from goals there. But the centre pass conversion rate is actually the opposite for both of those teams. So that's indicating to me that we've got those really tight contests.
Now, Kira, the lady on your screen, Superwoman, Super Wallam. Let's take a look at her incredible goal that she shot, falling out of court. We saw one last week. I don't know if this is just as good or it equals that, but I just love being able to see this in her game.
Well, Bianca, before the game, I had a quick chat to Nellie and asked her about that goal, and I said, could you do it again? And she had a wry smile on her face, which made me think maybe it was a fluke. It was no fluke. Here she goes again.
And there's nothing you can do as a defender when that happens either. It's really tough to even try and defend it. Let's take a look at the Firebirds attack in general, because we have been seeing, especially from someone like Amia Stour, the way that she has been manoeuvring. She's been the playmaker, but she's also been able to put some score on the board.
She has, and it's, I guess, the ebbs and flows for me. Initially, we saw the volume for the Firebirds coming through Danelle Wallum, and then I really wanted to see her step up and be a threat to pull some of those defenders off her. She has been doing that, getting herself into the goal circle, which then probably will create some more one-on-one for Danelle Wallum under the circle. So it's a real game of cat and mouse here, isn't it?
It sure is. And when we talk about the Magpies defensively, okay, they're coming up against that attack line. Kira, a former defender, you know exactly the craftiness that the Magpies can pull out. Coach Nicole Richardson loves the tactics, and we've seen some of those from the Magpies defenders.
You're spot on there. That's the key to it, Bianca. Nicole Richardson, she's a master of pulling out the technical side of the game and trying to work out her opposition. She said to her players at quarter time, go back to basics, own your own player, and dominate it. And we saw that in the second quarter there. Jodie Ann Ward and Jiva Mentor started to get their hands on ball. I love Jodie Ann Ward in that goal defence position. She's so dynamic and elusive, and the ability for her aerial to get up and get the ball is unbelievable. She's going to cause some problems for Mia Stour in the second half. We've already seen her start to wobble on the shot and go to the pass. So she's losing a little confidence. That's due to Jodie Ann Ward's great defensive work.
The Magpies are injecting a bit of fear into the Firebirds in attack, but they're leading the way on the scoreboard. When we have a look, Katie, at the Magpies attack, it has been a bit more of a, I guess, a polished performance from Nelson and Gunn, but still plenty of room for improvement.
Yeah, and I think it's the delivery of the ball getting down to them that is, the Firebirds are providing some really great, I guess, friction points for them. They're not having it all their own way down that attack end for the Magpies. I love to see the depth that that Jovic is getting to get the ball down to that circle edge and being able to find Nelson. Obviously, she's a huge target there, and Sophie Garvin providing that third feeder and just opening up that angle is really great.
What about Bakewell Doran and Carmo? They're starting to really get the ball now.
Absolutely. They're really sitting strong. The one thing I'm liking about them is Carmo's ability to move her body around the shooter. She's really watching the ball as it comes in flight and cleanly getting around her player. Coach Rebecca Bully, a wonderful defender herself, was very strong in that area, and she's passing on those traits to Remy Carmo. She's been strong, but she's been also clean. She's only had the 7 or 8 penalties, which for a half of netball, when you have 26 last week, is a big improvement. One area where I think Shimona Nelson can expose Carmo is getting her on the move, get her out of the circle and get her having to get back into position on the way in. We'll see whether or not that happens in the second half.
You get the feeling Carmo does love that standing shooter. All right, why is netball important to you, and what does the game mean to you? Brought to you by Suncorp. We'd love you to submit your entry in 50 words or less, along with a video or image of you and your club, to foxsports.com.au, or you can click on this QR code on your screen right now for your chance to win a family membership to the Suncorp Super Netball Club of your choice in the 2024 season. Now, let's take a look at one entry. This is Rachel Glance's entry. Netball is everything to her. Both of her daughters play, which brings her so much joy. And that's what it's all about, isn't it? Community netball, and where it all starts on the outdoor courts. Don't forget fan favourite Gretel Boetta. She's not playing for the Firebirds right now, but she does have a different role with the club, and she is on Pivot tonight to tell us all about it. Don't go anywhere. We have the second half coming up next. Welcome back to Fox Netball. You see it there, the Hot Pies. There's a big request for the Hot Pies. They're down by 5. The Firebirds have come out flying. It's a nice ice cream on a winter's day here in Melbourne. It is pretty cold here at John Cain Arena, but let's hope the action keeps heating up out there on court. The Firebirds are going to get us underway for the second half. Caitlin Thwaites and Kira Tromp joining me in commentary. And the Firebirds want to continue on what they started in that first half, Katie.
They really will. I think it's, we have seen a little bit of consistency, you know, ebb and flow for the Firebirds. So it'll be really interesting to see whether they can sustain this across the second half, but haven't they set themselves up well?
They sure have. Let's go down to their coach, Rebecca Bully. Thank you so much for joining us, Beck. What have you made of the first half?
Yeah, look, a great first half. I think we're doing really well. Danelle's such a strong target. She's got some good takes, but our fakes are working really well, sucking out the defence. And we're turning some great ball over too, which is awesome. We just, working it down and scoring off it consistently as well.
Beck, I was wondering, how are you, obviously this is a fairly young or relatively inexperienced team, how do you instill the confidence in them to be able to play out in some of these key moments? You were so close and in the game last week. Do you learn from that?
Oh, absolutely. There's always things that we can learn from. I guess we just want to keep trying to be better, keep improving. You know, these girls, I think, are doing a great job. You know, as you said, we are very, very inexperienced, but doesn't mean they're not capable. They are doing an amazing job.
Do you have any targets, Beck, in terms of what you're looking for in your stats with the intercepts that they get, with the turnovers they can get in a quarter in defensively?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we'd love to get at least 24 turnovers a game. We'd like to keep ourselves under 19 turnovers. Obviously, every turnover we get, we want to score above 70% of them. So, yeah, like, of course, you know, we've got our targets and we're just, you know, marginal gains, just trying to improve every week.
You seem so relaxed. I can just sense your first win isn't too far away. Enjoy the rest of the game, Beck. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
As we've been chatting, the Magpies, they're creeping back. It's 3 goals the difference. Simpson to Bakewell-Doran. Dunkley finds Rebellion in the middle. Up, over the top, Jodie-Ann Ward stifling in defence.
Isn't that impressive? But I would say that the Firebirds are all leading into the same spaces. They actually took Jodie-Ann Ward, as we look at the Harvey Norman replay, took Jodie-Ann Ward right to that intercept.
A push call, a contact call against Nelson, a win for Carmo. And a reset for the Firebirds, a lucky reset. They're struggling to be able to move forward. Simpson's available. They find Stour. Step on. That step on, you hear it back in community. We're talking about community round. You hear that from coaches.
You want to be in control of your feet. You want to be balanced. As soon as you're stepping on, you're putting yourself under pressure to be able to execute something in a very small amount of time. If you're balanced with your feet, you can make good decisions and change your mind if something gets covered.
Nelson. 25 goals for Shimona Nelson. We hear a HCF tactical timeout has been called by the Firebirds. A chance for Coach Bully to reset. And we're going to take a listen into exactly what Beck Bully has to say.
We're just missing it. One-on-one. If it's even, it goes in. Yeah?
Covers. I want you to stay out. Go and contest those ones. Be in front, okay? So close, so close. Good job. Sorry, I was just doing an interview. I wasn't really watching, but I just feel like in attack, we're getting a little bit hesitant. Let's just let the ball go. Give it. Yeah, great. We just need to make sure we've got 2 options, not one going and the other one waiting and then going. We need to have 2 options at the same time.
So I think we just need to sharpen up and trust that we can give it.
I'm going to swap you 2 for a little bit, actually. Yeah.
Oh, this is so beautiful. Don't worry about us. Let's go. Shoulders back. Stand tall and be brave. All right, let's go. Brave on 3. 1, 2, 3. Brave.
Stand tall and be brave. The instructions from the Firebirds captain. We can see some bibs moving around in the background. What are the changes there, Katie, for the Firebirds?
Well, we've seen the defensive shuffle here. So Bakewell-Doran's gone back into goalkeeper and Remy Carmo out to goal defence. So Be interesting to see what this variation of their lineup can provide.
Let's go across to Kira Tromp, who was listening into the Magpies.
Yes, B. Well, Ruby Bakewell-Doran is going to have her jumping shoes on because Nicole Richardson has asked Shimona Nelson to cherry-pick those feeds. So to meet the ball, don't let it drop, and to get up there and pull it in. She also spoke to her defenders about getting in front, as Ash Brazzles does on cue, and having a crack at the ball, and her coach will be very happy with her right now.
That's something we saw, Kira, in round one, was the strength of Nelson's hold. And it really does make a difference.
Well, the one thing, B, that was interesting during the chat was that Nicole Richardson said to Shimona, you need to get your shoulder in front of the defender, not get caught flat. So really position both shoulders in front and use the strength, which is her height, to pull the ball in.
It's pretty hard, Katie, isn't it, to compete in the air with a shooter standing so strong and so tall. Look at that run, the last 6 goals to the Magpies. Scores are now even here at John Cain Arena. Jovic, cross to Garvin, cross court they go to Brown. From the pocket to the post.
And the jumping shoes that are required. Ruby Bakewell-Doran not quite getting up there for that.
The Magpies, they hit the lead. We spoke about in the pre-game about the Firebirds have been able to produce some good quarters and some good halves, but they haven't been able to carry it through to a whole game. You start to feel the momentum changing here.
And that's the thing, you've got to be able to deal with those challenges from other teams. They're going to... Oh, as Bakewell-Doran, she saw it, she just didn't quite get her feet there. And the goal to finish from Nelson. But that's the thing, you've got to deal with those challenges from teams. They come at you and then might be a bit of a lull. They come at you again as we just look at the score breakdown here.
Yes.
This third quarter, Firebirds only 2 goals so far.
A 7-2 third quarter so far. Garvin sweeps along the baseline. Walks it 2-3 times, but that's her 6th goal. The Firebirds have found some pace. They work down the court. Can they get up, over, blocked? Get that out of here, but it's an obstruction call. Oh, it's a contact call.
Contact.
Stour for 1. Brown.
Hit the wing attack, no way you work, Kelsey.
Signals to the umpire. Is it here? Let me take it quickly.
There's that strong take that Nicole Richardson was talking about. The delivery, nice and high and super strong into those safe hands.
Kira, what have you made with the Firebirds' defensive change?
Well, I'm just sitting here, B, trying to rack my brain as to what Beckley is thinking in terms of making this switch. I thought Ruby Bakewell-Doran was doing a great job, but Remy Camo was owning Shimona Nelson under the post. Now, we know that Remy Camo is struggling to keep her penalties down. Great pick up there by Remy Camo. And when you're out in goal defence, you're obviously under a lot more pressure on contest. So it's going to be really, as we see a tough fall from both players there. Lara Dunkley giving away the penalty. From your point of view, Bianca, where do you see the reason for the change being made here between the goal defence goalkeeper?
Tough hit for the Firebirds attacker. For me, I think if they're going to try and do what you see the Magpies doing the positional swap, coming off the body, having a look from a different angle, then it makes sense. But if Camo and Bakewell-Doran are going to stay in a more one-on-one, it's really hard to see it work. But you can see the positional change there. Now Camo's back on Nelson. That's a smart play when she gets a bit more of a run for it to get off the body. But the Magpies, I reckon they're going to switch onto it quickly. But let's see how this one plays out. 1 goal the difference. The Magpies, they're up in front of their home crowd at John Cain Arena. Over the top, Camo steals it off Simpson with a smile on her face. The Firebirds will be happy it landed in safe hands. Rebellion trying to find an option. She's got to go again.
Jeeva Mentor. Isn't that impressive? She read the body language and knew that the ball was just going to get dribbled back.
The Magpies isolating the ball carrier, allowing so much time to see what they can do.
Contact, swing attack, centre third.
An unnecessary shove from Dunkley. She stands out of play. The Magpies, they want to get on with it. It's a double team on Nelson, but a strong take. Look at this Harvey Norman record. Look at Mentor. She comes off so quickly. She gave herself so much time to get her feet around it, and Stour turned her back on the ball. Sorry, turned her back on the players.
Oh, huge take again from Nelson. That's what I was talking about before, Bianca, with the you can afford to drift off your player slightly if they're not looking in at your direct player. You can come off your player a little bit and have a look for some of those hunting balls as Jeeva Mentor gets another tip with the outside arm.
The Magpies defenders. Jodie-Ann Ward, she's sitting on 5 intercepts. Jeeva Mentor on 2. 4 deflections apiece for both Magpies defenders. Jovic, she can see Nelson's hand up in the air. Nelson repaying them for the faith of putting it up and over the top. Watch this from Mentor, deflection. And don't you love when your defensive teammate has your back? Garvin to Brown. Back to Garvin, the Magpies playing it around safely. Huge pressure on Dunkley, coming out for the centre pass. Dunkley on the edge, easy to Wallem. Power 5 is in play. You heard the siren. Don't forget every Suncorp super shot in this game. Suncorp will be donating $100 to the Confident Girls Foundation.
Kim, take a step back. Both of you take a step.
Let's have a look at the Nissan net points here with Jodie-Ann Ward leading the way there at 71. And Jovic. Remy Camo, though, still up there. Nelson just gets a little flick in of the rebound.
Outside. Yes.
4 goals the difference. Nelson, will she make it 5? Stour, quick one to Dunkley. She needs backup, but she doesn't have it. That's where you can tell the difference in the experience.
Well time, just here, the ball is here.
You get the feeling in attack the Firebirds are playing ball to ball rather than thinking about what's next or how they can help each other.
But also that sense of occasion of feeling that coming back from the Magpies, you just need to stem the flow, convert your centre passes, do your thing, keep in control. They're getting a little bit rattled, a little bit caught up as we see Ash Braz attempt to clean the floor a little bit.
I think she's got enough to do out there. Ward to Jovic. Brown just swoops across the outside, takes Simpson with her, causes the penalty. Up, over the top. 37 goals for Shimona Nelson. That's the sort of volume we're used to seeing.
And another change here. We see some of this attempting to have some impact. Macy Gardner has taken the court for the Firebirds at centre. I would expect that potentially Kim Rebellion just having a quick breather. Gabby Simpson also leaves the court.
Let's go across to Kira. What do you make of the changes the Firebirds are making?
Yeah, look, we've just seen 2 players enter the court where we see a mistake there. The ball's lost to the sideline. We've got Macy Gardner stepping in and also Ash Unai coming into wing defence. Look, I think Rebecca Bully's just looking for some more legs. So the centre court players were starting to look a little tired. It's been a very physical contest. For mine, these changes are always made with a little bit of trepidation because I feel like every time a new player enters the court, there's 1 or 2 turnovers as they settle into the intensity of the match. So hopefully the Firebirds can get these girls going pretty quickly if they want to get this scoreboard back on their side.
Because the scoreboard pressure is mounting. Thanks to that lady on screen too. Not Gabby Simpson, but Shimona Nelson, who just landed that last shot. The Magpies have taken their lead out by 8. 2 minutes, just over 2 minutes to play in the third. Brown, Garvin for 2. This one might hurt the Firebirds. They can't land the 2, but for 1. And the lead goes out to 9. Gardner, across and up. Again, Mentor, 2 steps ahead of the Firebirds and their placement.
It's so impressive to watch, isn't it? Just the ability to read the play and those defenders out the front that are creating that space and time for those at the back to be able to do that. So we see this replay here.
As an attack end, when you know the defensive end is reading exactly what you're doing before you even do it, what can you add into your game to change it up?
Some fakes, Bianca. They need to be faking and attempting to see, is Jiva going to come out of the circle? If she does, then you can jam it straight down under the post to Wallum. But when this little hesitation, Jodie Ann Ward gets her hands on another one. 3rd intercept for the game so far.
And Lara Dunkley looked straight at where she wanted to throw that. Perfect time for a fake, perhaps. Easy for us to say on the sidelines as Bakewell Doran comes out flying. Just comes up short, but Garvin. It rims out. Nelson, handy rebound. 40 seconds to play in the third quarter. Don't forget, 15 minutes of action still to come though. 10-goal lead to the Collingwood Magpies. They're enjoying this Easter Sunday in front of their home crowd. A few contact calls for the Magpies. You can see how intense this mid-court battle is. Dunkley, there we go. Finds Wallum. Can't make 2. Stoward does everything she can to keep the ball in play, but the Magpies have got another chance. They don't have enough time, though, to add to the scoreboard. It's a 10-goal lead for the Magpies. It's been a huge third quarter. We've got the last quarter coming up soon.
Welcome back to the 3/4 time break, thanks to Origin Energy. I'm joined here by some very special guests today. Brooke Brazel, Franca and Louie. Happy Easter. Brooke, you must be proud of Ash today. It's been a really tough physical match. How do you find it sitting on the sidelines watching her hit the floor?
I'm used to it with football as well, but I'm always happy when she gets up, thankfully.
And how about the Easter Bunny, Louie? Did he find you this morning?
Yes, he made a tray of Easter chockies in my room.
He made a train of Easter chockies in his room. Well, you heard it here, Bianca. The Easter Bunny made it to the Brazel household this morning.
Oh, the cutest of cute. I love it. Katie, when we focus on the Firebirds, what did you hear Beck Bully saying and what was of interest to you?
Well, Beck Bully just saying that quarter is done now, guys. We can't dwell on that. We need to get ball now. So she is focusing on the defenders. They're having to get those rebounds. She really wants them. She thinks that they're getting into some of the shots and the timing on the shot, which was one of Beck Bully's absolute best things, by the way. But really keen. They obviously just need to get some ball back, and you would think that potentially they're going to need to take some of those super shots at the back end of this quarter.
Well, we're underway in the final quarter between the Magpies and the Firebirds. 10 goals the difference. The Magpies dominant in that third quarter. What a huge turnaround it was. Let's get across to Kira. What are your thoughts on the Magpies?
Oh, B, I saw something really interesting during that 3/4 time break. Nicole Richardson got up out of her chair and met her players on the court. They formed an arm-in-arm guard, and she spoke to how proud she was that they were able to fight back and get this lead. And from there, she wants them to push on. So a really stoic moment from the coach, Nicole Richardson. She really put her heart on her sleeve and let her players know right there and then how happy she was with them.
A 20-goal turnaround between the first half and the end of that third quarter for the Magpies. I love seeing the emotions, the roller coaster that you go on with the coaches, because we get so much great access here on Fox Netball. We get to talk to them during the game, but we also get to listen into the huddles. Two very different coaching styles from Bully and Richardson.
Bully is quite calm in the way that she addresses her players, isn't she? And Nicole Richardson absolutely wears her heart on her sleeve. All former players at the elite level, the top of their game, former Diamonds, both coaches.
Brazel to Brown. Let's get back to the action on the court. Hard to break the connection between Brown and Nelson. Ashley Unai at wing defence. Stour to Wallam. Wallam just juggles it. She manages to pull it in and make it count on the scoreboard.
Find it quite interesting, Bianca, that we've seen Kim Revellion re-enter the game back in at centre, obviously wanting to get a few quick breaths into her before she comes back on the court. But out of that really strong mid-court that we had for the Firebirds, they've taken a few of their leaders off. So now you've got Macy Gardner out there, a wing attack, fairly young and inexperienced. You've got Gabby Simpson, who has been the Firebirds leader for so long. She's also finds herself on the bench with Lara Dunkley there. So not a lot of experience now. I would think that probably a lot of it's going to fall down to Kim Revellion, who is making the play happen as we speak.
Trying to find an option. The only one she had was Wallam, but she was being double defended by the Magpies. You make a really good point, taking the experience off. Is it to rest legs, do you think, or is it to give some of these youngsters some more experience?
Well, I think initially it's probably actually to try and inject something, because they lost a lot of momentum in that third quarter. So to try something, they needed to try something, but I probably would have gone back to having that experience out there on the court if they're going to wrestle back this lead.
Nelson for one. The Magpies out by 11. What can the Firebirds do? Not that, though. The breaking call. Brazel very happy to take that. As a wing defence, you don't have to do much work if it's a breaking call.
Nope, you've done your job.
Done your job.
Well, not quite. Ash Braz does a lot of work in attack, doesn't she? As we saw her link the ball very nicely down to the attack end.
Ash Brazel, a very proud mum of Louie and Franca that we saw there at three-quarter time. Hope Louie's sharing some of his Easter eggs. We might hit him up after the game, see if there's any left. He's brought some to the courts. Firebirds struggling for an option on the centre pass. They get a chance to reset. Brown out of play. Revellion back to Unai. Look at that, huge amount of workload. Ash Brazel, she knows exactly who the target is for the Firebirds in attack. If they've got no option, they go to Kim Revellion.
Great up and over to Danelle Wallam. Just got to keep ticking that ball over, and like Beck Bully said, they need to get the ball in their hands. They need some defensive turnovers now.
12 goals the difference, 10 minutes to play in the final quarter. Brown to Nelson. As the game's gone on, that connection between Kelsey Brown and Shimona Nelson has been getting stronger.
It has, and I think a lot of that, some of that probably wear down effect that Gabby Simpson was doing on Kelsey Brown Kelsey's now sitting on 54 Nissan net points. Crept her way up at the back end of this game. But you get the sense that she's back into her playmaking role, isn't she? So having a little bit of a one-on-one battle there for a while. Now she's back to running the show.
A matchup that is interesting is Macy Gardner up against the very, very experienced Ash Brazel. Kira, what are you making of that matchup so far?
Bianca, I'm thoroughly enjoying the matchup between those two. During the week, the Firebirds all agreed that Macy Gardner was the most likely to get warned by an umpire. And I wouldn't doubt it at the moment, some of the death stares I'm seeing, but the physical contest between those two is what they need, and that intensity from the Firebirds needs to lift to be able to bring back this deficit.
Now we've got to let you get back to work, Kira, because it's a HCF tactical timeout. We're going to take a listen in to the Magpies and what Coach Richardson has to say in the final quarter.
Great job defensively from behind to be an attacking option, which is what we need to do. Good use of the body in doing that. Our movement in the attack end is good. We've got good court balance, so keep working on that wide middle rather than the wide. Switching between short and long is working well. That extra pass, don't go away from giving it to Shimmy in a 1v1 like that last one. Can we go earlier? Not to have another play where that comes into play either. Okay, so good job, keep it moving. I reckon you've got more defensively. I reckon you can get something for us. Don't go, shut back hard on hers, yeah? Keep pushing forward off the wall on the centre pass. If Macy's still out there, she's not going to want anything in the back space. She's want to keep coming. So jump, and then as she comes to you, extend it and then have a fly, yep? Let's go, brilliant.
We're going one-on-one.
Yeah, dudes. Pass.
Kelsey Brown, centre pass received. She's sitting at 23. She only needed 21 to crack the 1,800 mark. I'm sure not a stat she's really keeping tally of, but still very impressive. Just shows the workload Kelsey Brown does as a stumble between Stour and Ward. Ward just tripped over the top of Mia Stour.
Hold time. We have a mop, please.
Both players just needing some time. Mop comes out onto court.
Sorry, we've full time for the not injury. Yeah, that's okay.
And you can hear the umpire there, Tim Marshall, just telling the Firebirds physio it's not an injury time. We haven't called that. It's purely just to mop up the court.
But Mia Stour has actually exited the court, and Emily Moore has entered the game at goal attack.
Contact.
So we see exactly what Nicole Richardson was talking about in that timeout. If the one-on-one is there for Nelson, let's go earlier. You don't need to be doing extra passes and getting into a fight. If it's there, deliver.
Exactly like that, deliver. Garvin to Nelson. The Magpies, they're out by 13. We'll get Kira to keep an eye on Mia Stour. She's walking quite gingerly behind the Firebirds bench. Wallum, great take, strong take. The Firebirds need more of it.
Kelsey Brown being forced to go back. Replay the ball around. Oh, lucky one to get through there. And find Jovic on the circle edge.
Brazel and Gardner. We're going to keep an eye on that battle because you can see the physicality building. Here's the Super Netball live ladder, the Magpies. Well, they started today in 6th position. They may climb, but of course we still have 2 games to play out. It's the Thunderbirds and the Giants following us here today in Adelaide. And then tomorrow we have an Easter Monday special, the Swifts hosting the West Coast Fever. Moore comes up short for her first.
Outside.
Another opportunity.
So great to see the youngster just turn and go to post as well. Obviously knows her role out there.
Sorry, Magpies.
and a whole bunch of other youngsters, Bianca, that are about to hit the court. The National Championships is being played up in Darwin. A lot of the state teams heading up there, so all the best to all of those girls. And the men's nationals, of course, which is also taking place.
It's all happening in the school holidays. All the best to everyone participating in the nationals. Such an important part of the game. Gardner walks one way, has to go back. Trusty Rebellion is always there. More nice feed to Wallum. Let's go across to Kira, who's keeping an eye on the Firebirds bench.
Yeah, Bianca, we're just seeing Mia Stour getting some ice applied to that left-hand quad. It's heavily strapped with some compression. The physio is just putting some ice, so I don't think we'll see her take any further part. From my standpoint here on the edge of the sideline, it looks like she just had that impact with Jodie Ann Ward right on that thigh.
What can we expect from Emily Moore now she's out on court?
Yeah, look, she tends to play more of that sweeping role across the top of the circle, Bianca. Hasn't had much court time, but will feed nicely, as we see there, into Janelle Wallen. Looks to go to the post, probably more than Mia Stour, but does like the feed across to Janelle Wallen. Nice and rangy, and has a long sweeping entry into the circle.
Rangy. Let's see if we can see that come to play in the Power 5. Wallen misses under, gets another go. As you can hear the Power 5 siren, 38 goals at 100% for Danelle Wallen. She was 60 from 63 last week, so down on volume. Brown to Garvin, back to Brazel. Brown is running the show in the attack end for the Magpies.
Eyes only for the shooter. Absolutely love that as a wing attack.
There's Jodie Ann Ward on screen because she's a leader in the Nissan net points. 84, followed very closely by Molly Jovic. And the only Firebird on the top, in the top 5, Remy Camo.
We see a super shot from Emily Moore. We're going to need a few more of those, but great to open her account.
Kira called it a rangy shooter, and she showed us exactly that. Jovic to Garvin.
Contact centre.
The Firebirds, they're always sitting back in a double defence, but not committing enough to being either on Nelson or one out on Garvin.
Getting caught in that no man's land means that you can't really contest either of the balls. So we see another timeout, HCF timeout called
by the Magpies, and we often see this. Nicole Richardson as coach often loves the tactical play of the Power 5. Let's take a listen into what they're going to try and do. Can't quite hear it yet. Can you imagine what she's going to hear? We're in there.
Shots, yeah? So overplay it, deny it. If Danelle gets it at post, sink back onto Moore. Don't let Danelle push back out. We can overplay it. Middies, the same work you did against Swifts in terms of Helen, yeah? Anytime you see her entering, we get in the way and we actually delay it, yeah? Make sure, and we'll get these guys to come down and trap hard, and we'll let them throw the ball back and forward in the back space as often as they want. Trap.
Wait, we're changing our hard one-on-one from everyone. You guys don't flood down. I want it to go back, and then we're shutting off. So they're going to come middle. You guys shut that off.
Let's go. Attack the game. Hard. Let's go. Attack it.
The Magpies, they're back out on court. They want to get underway. They've had their chance to reset, to refocus. Interesting, Katie, this last quarter, so far, 14 goals apiece.
A stark contrast to the last quarter, wasn't it? You talk about the third quarter being the premiership quarter. That's where this game so far has been won and lost.
3.5 minutes to play. 10 goals the difference. Kira, what were you hearing in the Firebirds huddle?
Lots of noise down there, Bianca, from the Firebirds huddle. Everybody was having a say. We've seen the reintroduction of Gabby Simpson, as Caitlin alluded to earlier, adding that level of experience to the court. A great rebound there as you see them trying to arrest this lead by going for the two-point shots. We know how risky that can be, but the Firebirds have left no choice but to try for the two-point.
They've got to take risks. Let's see who's going to stand up for the Firebirds in attack.
And on the flip side, Bianca, we heard Nicole Richardson talking about needing to not allow that to happen as Danelle Wallum.
Magic from Danelle Wallum. A Suncorp super shot. That's her first.
Contact, goalkeeper.
Garbin for 2. They're happy to keep it safe. 1 goal, they're chipping away.
Kim Revellion wanting to get a hurry on. She can feel this game slipping out of her grasp.
Been talking about the huge amount of work that Kim Revellion's been doing for the Firebirds. What have you made of Molly Jovic's game?
She has been strong and steady. She's currently sitting on 82.5 Nissan net points, which the fact that she adds to the goal assists quite a lot. A lot of the time we see the wing attack doing that dominant amount of feeding and the goal assists for their team. Molly Jovic hits the scoreboard with that. She also manages to get her hands in there defensively. She's had a really strong and solid game.
And partners with Kelsey Brown perfectly. Just keeping an eye on the scoreboard. It really does creep up in this Power 5. Things can change quickly. 8 goals of difference. Simpson to Wallum. There's way too much on it. When it works, it looks so brilliant, but when it doesn't, it's ugly netball.
Almost takes the wind out of your sails a little bit, doesn't it?
An opportunity missed. The Magpies. You don't want to give them too much ball. Brazel. Is she on the footy field? The way she jumped up and took that mark.
Take right in front of us.
I just love seeing her athleticism. And what an incredible athlete to be able to be a cross-coder. Play 2 elite games pretty much at the same time. Garbin. Oh, Carmo comes flying. Ward has another crack. Jodie-Ann Ward, 84.5 Nissan net points, 5 intercepts, 4 deflections, and only 5 penalties. Wallum for 2. What can she do? The magic from Danelle Wallum.
We found this last week with the Firebirds as well, managing to sink 3 super shots in the last 5 minutes, but it was too little too late, and you get that feeling again today.
7 goals the difference. Mentor and Brazel stepping in to shut down the Firebirds. A lucky pickup from the Magpies. 5 seconds on the clock. Garbin comes up short, but Nelson rebounds. There we have it here at John Cain Arena on Easter Sunday. The Magpies, they get the win by 7. They'll be very happy with that performance. Not so much the first half, but how they really fought out this third quarter.
Absolutely, and that's what Nicole Richardson was really proud of, the way that they ground out that first half and they spotted their opportunity and they put their foot down. That is a huge third quarter from the Magpies, and as we hear the song ring out around this stadium.
And the 2 coaches having a chat. They seem quite up for having a conversation about the game. And Richardson shaking her head. There's the 2 Jamaicans in Nelson and Jodie-Ann Ward. Katie, let's take a look at the match summary. What stats do stand out for you?
Well, there's the Nissan net points. There's probably about 100 points different there, which tells me that a lot more of the Magpies were doing the 1%ers. They were beating their own opponents. The shooting accuracy relatively the same there. Penalties, the Firebirds really expensive. And we spoke about that as Remy Carmo racked up a few under her name, but also got a few intercepts there too.
Let's go across to Kira Tromp with our player of the match.
Thanks, B. I'm down on court with Jodie Ann Ward. An absolutely amazing game from your team tonight, Jodie Ann. But you personally, 4 intercepts, 5 deflections and only 9 penalties. You have to be pretty happy with that.
Yeah, we're pretty happy with the performance. We started really slowly, and that wasn't the type of netball that we wanted to play this week. So we were in the changing rooms and we reflected on the first half, and we just came out firing in the second half.
That's a huge amount of learning for your team, having gone on the road to Perth last week and had a pretty substantial loss. So to be able to bring the game back onto your terms, it must give you a lot of hope and excitement for the season.
Yes, definitely. Last week was definitely not the brand of netball that Collingwood wants to play. So this week we just wanted to come out and show that we're actually good enough to be up there on the ladder, and we just made a good performance.
Obviously next weekend you're taking on the Giants, the Super Shot Queens with Sophie Dwyer and Jo Harton. What are you focusing, do you think, this week on in shutting down those super shots?
Giants is definitely a team that is really dominant on super shots, and we have the Super Shot Queen in Sophie as well. So we just have to go out there and just try and deny it as best as possible and make sure that we're putting up the shots whenever we get the opportunities to actually compete and be in the game for the full 60 minutes.
A fabulous defensive effort from you and your team tonight. Congratulations and enjoy the win. Happy Easter, Jodie Ann.
Thank you.
Back to you, Bianca.
Thanks, Kira. The leadership from Jodie Ann Ward really controlling the defence. And let's take a look at the ladder. The Magpies, they're moving their way up.
They are, and we knew that they, had some really great form. The last 2 games that they've lost were against last year's grand finalists. So you get the feeling that they're on the move. That might be a really great confidence-building win for them. And the Firebirds still seeking their first win of the season.
Well, we have plenty more to discuss as we break down this game, what happened, the tale of the 2 halves. We have our post-game show coming up, and don't forget, following this game today is the Thunderbirds and the Giants. I cannot wait for this clash, how the Thunderbirds show up and what the Giants do to try and get their first win on the board for the season.